What?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Combo Wombo podcast. On this, after April's Fools, I'm here, Chipmunk. With me, as always, is the Mr. Gimpy. How are you today, sir?
No. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Doing
You're
what?
You're not doing the soft spoken fucking audio book chip level of intro.
This
dude.
is how I've always talked.
This
I don't know
is the goddamn most hype, most off the wall fucking video game podcast there is, dude. So we start off.
I think WrestleMania's got you too hypey, dude.
I might, dude. It might. Night one finished. Let's just say, because I mean, I think everyone on the pod knows that you and I both enjoy the wrestling. You know, did you watch it?
Wrestling? No, man. WrestleMania is too damn long, dude. Like it's like 2 days now, 3 days. I like to watch the highlights afterwards. Like people make suspiciously, copyright free videos of like all the highlights of all the matches and stuff, and I just usually watch that.
Okay,
but it is a lot of hype. I know, like was it Charlotte Flair was there, Sami Zayn, KO fighting the Uso boys.
Yep,
they're out there tussling with the muscle, dude.
Yeah,
Did you watch it, man? What'd you think?
I won't spoil anything for you. Night one was very satisfying, though. It was fun. There was only one, maybe 2 segments where I was just like, bleh, But that's to be said when you have such a big show and it's supposed to appeal to everyone.
It's true, man.
The YouTuber Logan Paul impressed once again.
Heard he slammed a bottle of Prime through an announcer table.
I'll leave you to watch that, but yeah, it was fun overall, man. I had fun with it. The women's tag team match with Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Lita versus Damage Control, just for like the one night only. But it was cool seeing them all wrestle again. Lita just her timing's just really off.
It's been a while, man. And like she did some of the most insane, high flying maneuvers back in the day.
True.
But it all kind of feels ancient and antiquated by today's like female wrestling standards. But there really wasn't like a female wrestling division when Trish and Lita were doing. They kind of created it.
There's a moment
where
they
had like the Diva title still.
No, she had a women's championship for.
I know, but like they created it.
She was there for the transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it left the business with the last women's champion, and after that, like Vince was so burned because like that was one of the reasons for the Montreal screw job. Was the women's champion a couple years prior left with the women's belt?
Tossed it in the trash. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. But there's a moment, and I'll let you spot it, but I will say Trish sets Lita up for the poetry in motion, and it just was the sloppiest poetry motion I have ever seen. But that being said, that was probably like the one like just kind of kip up, or you just a moment in that match overall. It was very fun. I think Damage Control were very, very fun heels. Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio, their match was very fun as well. I absolutely love Dom as a heel, and his whole prison gimmick is the funniest shit in a long time. So, shout out to those guys and him for staying in his heel character when his dad got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then when he had a WrestleMania moment and had his mom and sister in the ring as well, and Dom was kind of just like, oh man,
Eddie's son.
Exactly, yeah. So good stuff. We'll see what night 2 brings. I'm confident it'll be very good. I'm confident the Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes storyline will finish in a satisfying way. Whoever wins,
one way or another.
Yeah. Either way, I like them. I like both. I like the build up. It was fun. Even the matches that I didn't think were going to be that great were very fun. Like there's one, like I think of all the matches, I think we'll both agree on the low light for matches, so we'll see. But yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Auspicious. Nice, yeah. Well, we'll talk about it next week.
It seems like the WWE games have been like pretty busted every year. AEW said they're coming out with a game, but
apparently 2K23 is good.
All right, it's good again. Like
apparently.
They
But
have
the
like
AEW
off
game comes
years.
out August or something like that.
They had to push it back. I don't know. Kenny Omega says because there's so much blood in it. Like they're just like it's like a Mortal Kombat level of blood.
He's a line sack shit.
Oh yeah, you think it's is that a work
shit.
inside of?
Yeah. If we could have a game based on like Dante's Divine Comedy with the fucking 9 levels of hell, including just like just the most fucked up shit you've ever seen. I'm sure that game was fine. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. Who knows? Too. It could have been like the executives being like, "We need this to be E for everyone. Like, get rid of all that stuff that you've been working on this whole time." Like, I thought we are making a mature wrestling game for hardcore wrestling video game.
Wrestling games always shoot for T.
T for everyone.
Because whenever you hit someone, like, and it's a realistic person, you just automatically get a T. And then if you add blood, it depends how much blood. So. Well,
apparently it was fountains of blood was the problem.
Buckets of blood.
Buckets of blood.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Blood and guts. Yeah, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So what have you been up to, Chip? It's been
oh man,
we played Halo together. That
happened.
But I'll let you say. Just fill everybody in. What you went up to?
I was playing more and more League of Legends lately. I started watching that Arcane.
Have you
show.
never seen it? I thought we talked about
this.
I
hadn't seen it.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Like,
I suggested it.
I was like, I'll check it out.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. It was okay. It was fun. It felt like almost like some of the dialogue was written by robots a little bit. Like everything just had to be like more epic and grandiose. But then it was like it suffered from that like tone whiplash that a lot of modern stuff suffers from, where it's like we're talking extremely serious. Am I right? Cuz they just like throw in like random
sure.
new age slang. It's weird. It's weird. Sure. I don't know, where they'll be like, and there's like the duality too of like the two cities as well in that show. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense where you have like the slums with more lowbrow stuff and then
stuff.
The high society. But but sometimes like they just kind of like slip the dialogue in between both of them a little too interchangeable for my taste. But overall, look gorgeous. Good animation.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah,
I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, dude.
That's around what I gave it. I gave it an 8 myself. But yeah, we're at that point we're splitting hairs,
Yeah.
I thought so. For me with that show, and I can't believe we're talking about it now, like 2 years after the fact. But no, it's like a year after the fact, right? Anyway, I absolutely loved Jinx, her characterization, her character video that came out, which was like the music video or whatever of Get Jinxed.
Wow.
I thought was super fun.
To me, it felt like it was like the best Harley Quinn impersonation they could do. Like, I don't know, it felt weird to me.
For the music video or for Arcane itself?
Just her Arcane.
Her character. Yeah, I can see that. But there was also just like a point where she kind of had this bit of innocence about her. You could tell there was just like a corruption along the way, which is like kind of tied into the betrayal and then like the mind games that the big bad kind of played as well. Vi, I was not a real big fan of in the game. The show,
I wasn't a fan of her in the show, bro.
Really, the show made me like her. The show made me like her.
She kept showing up everywhere. Did they try to make her like the MC? But like maybe that was like the biggest problem for me. Is like there's no main character. Like there was like the whole world was the main character.
I thought they did well though. There's I don't know. I'm looking forward to if they do it.
She would just like just show up random places. Like she just like I'm here because they need me to be here now. She's like in Jace's forge, and it's like, how did she get in here? Why is she here?
I will say this.
She's helping them out, like take down.
I thought they did a very good establishing of the two cities so far, and League lore has it's actually a really big world. We have all these characters from different parts of it, and like I'm looking forward to what Arcane Season 2 brings, and I'm hoping to bring some Piltover people over, get some of the pirates in. I want to see Gangplank, I want to see Misfortune. Let's get Master Yi in here. Let's see what happens.
Man. We want Blitz, dude. Bring back Blitz.
I thought the fight, hell yeah. I thought the fight scenes in the show were very good, and I didn't have high hopes because of the 3D animation, but it won me over. It looked gorgeous, and I thought bringing in Imagine Dragons for the intro gave it this level of bigger budget feel.
I was watching with my buddy, and they hated
show.
the intro. They're like, "What's with this song?"
They're not for
and
everyone,
I was like,
but I thought it fit perfectly, and the fact that you have it like an established like mainstream act, kind of, I thought it boosted the show, much like with the Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime and using you know, the song "This Fire" from Franz Ferdinand as its intro. I thought boosted the show a bit from this like niche video game like you know, offshoot thing to something that for everyone, because it had something that everyone could recognize. So I thought it was good. But
gave street cred to the kids.
To the mainstream, because as I said before, and what Guillermo del Toro said when he won the Oscar for Pinocchio, animation is art, animation is filmmaking, animation is here to stay. Whether it's 3D, whether it's 2D, I think that animation is for everyone. It's not just for kids. And I think with the current generation, that people are like, our generation and the generation right behind us know that animation can tell great stories no matter the age group, you know?
Yeah. It definitely feels like you're, at least in America and the West, that it's been always
really
more
the
geared
West's
towards
problem.
For kids. It's like Disney. Disney did did the thing, dude.
That's true.
And Congress too. Congress stepped in and made laws about stuff too for advertising.
Well, that wasn't even like a law. It was the FCC kind of cracking down on Saturday morning cartoons, if you remember.
They're just advertisements for kids.
They're like when it's advertisement for toys, and they needed a message, so hence the GI Joe going, you know, the more you know, and all that, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, it has to be educational. Like yeah, dude, it's weird. Yeah. Had to become more propaganda. It wasn't enough.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, I've been playing some League, dude.
I'm excited that you played it. So to update everyone, I hosted a giant custom game on Halo Infinite last Wednesday. Chip showed up. A lot of our buddies showed up. I left the room open for whoever wanted to join. So we had, I think at one point we had 12 people. You know,
a lot.
You know, it's a lot of people for custom games. And we did Forge, and we realized how unbelievably broken Forge is, but also, I had a blast, dude. I had a good time. We got the Driftball working right after you left too.
Oh,
I found
the menu kept crashing for me still. The game crashed a couple times.
Yeah. Well, let me ask, when you were in the game, did you have fun? It seemed like you were having a good time.
Yeah, I was having a blast, man. We got a picture with everybody. I was like, everyone line up.
Yeah.
Group photo.
Yeah. Awesome. So I will say, I think the time of me playing Infinite for like grinding rank and doing competitive shit, I think that's done.
Dang, you're hanging up the Halo Master Chief helmet?
For now. There may be something that pulls me back.
Hanging up the Infinity Gauntlet, dude?
But the custom games were way more fun than ranked has been, you know?
Yeah. It almost made me want to like mess around with Forge a little bit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because I was like, man, these maps are kind of shit. I could make a better map.
Exactly.
Like, this is like the most popular ones.
Some of the good maps, though, you saw how powerful Forge can be, though. Like with like the custom nodes and stuff. I didn't get a chance to play, but they have a Stranger Things like Buyer's House map where you had a portal that sent you to the Upside Down.
Yeah, they had the back rooms from if you know your SCP lore.
Yep. We did the back rooms.
Through a video game. Yeah.
Yep, with that. So
just confused everyone. They're like, what is this shit? And I'm like, you guys don't know.
I didn't want to go. I knew you knew, and I'm like, I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, okay, I guess nobody.
I'm like, yeah, this is weird. I guess
nobody spent a considerable time online, right?
Yeah. Maybe everyone was just pretending like they didn't know because nobody wanted to be the guy who's like, SCP, this is it.
Right. But
we fell into the video game realm, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man. I like I said, I had fun with custom games in Halo. You know, we'll see if ranked comes back into full gear with me. But at this point in time, I don't feel the need for it. You know, other little updates here. Let's see. Yeah, Counter-Strike 2.
Counter-Strike 2. Damn it.
You know, what were you gonna say?
Did they change up Counter-Strike, dude? It looks different to me now.
For CS2?
Nostalgize. Yeah. The game looks better, more modern. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're going to Source 2 for the next Counter-Strike. Or are you talking about Global Offensive when I was playing it?
Global Offensive, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that had like a coat of paint a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Gunskins switch it up, and then they've reworked a lot of the maps as well, to not have like such clear sight lines and stuff, but still keeping the soul of the map alive, which I think so far they've done a very good job. The
Is
nuke
Counter
remake,
Strike
although
still fun, man?
yes, it's
All right.
Counter Strike.
There's a bit
Let
of a
me ask you
pause.
this. Let me ask you this.
All
Did
right.
you play it before?
I played the OG original
1.
Counter Strike.
1.6a. So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. Did you like it then?
Yeah, we used to LAN. We used to play Counter Strike. It was great.
Okay. So Counter Strike is hands down the funnest FPS that is out.
Okay.
There is, in terms of pure gameplay, especially like the tech shooter realm, there's no competition.
It's basically the chest of FPSs.
I feel it is, yeah. Here's the problem though. The matchmaking is completely broken, and cheaters have swarmed the entire game. That being said, the maps are completely goated, and the gunplay is top notch. The sounds are top notch, and like as the game just feels so good, it keeps you playing, even despite the cheaters, despite the bullshit. It keeps you
Seems
playing.
like there's a ton of sweaty tryhards on there for me. Like I was just like, I can't even just play casual.
It does, but that's part of. I don't know, dude. That's part of the fun. I don't know, man. It's because like I've been playing that game since. I remember it was beta. I want to say it was like beta 3 or something like that. Like it was like right before. It was like right before the 1.0 release. That's when I got into it. I got the mod, downloaded it. I remember, back in the day on my parents' computer, and I've been playing it off and on since like '99, dude. So it's a game that I've always gone back to. I've been playing Counter Strike longer than Halo. It's like basically Halo, Counter Strike, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, Jedi Academy were my games that I played a shit ton of.
Is there a new Jedi Academy coming out soon?
There's a VR remake coming
for
it, but
there's a new
Jedi Survivor thing too. Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, man, Counter Strike has been fun. CS2 with improved anti cheat, with going to Source 2. It's probably the reason I got back into Counter Strike, because I don't want to be rusty for Counter Strike 2, and I hope that Valve meets my expectations, and there's no reason to believe why they won't. So we'll see come summer.
Get Gabe on the phone. Tell him get after it.
Right. But yeah, man. Yeah, if you're interested in joining us, man, obviously come on in, come through, dude. Like,
all right.
Yeah,
think about it.
We got some buddies in. Yeah, no big deal. That being said, I wanted to talk about something here. I know we usually talk about games we're working on, things that are happening in the industry, and I wanted to just kind of put that on pause.
Big moves?
Like my own.
Oh,
like,
E3 was canceled.
Yeah, E3 was canceled. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end. My own personal projects. We're still working on it, but here's the thing: Dark and Darker. They are going through it right now. So those of you who don't know, Dark and Darker is the upcoming
document is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. Dark and Darker is a
don't seek us for legal or financial advice.
It's a game that's in the extraction shooter genre. But it's set in medieval times, and it's a little more melee combat focused. And so you go into these instance dungeons, you're looting, you're PvP, PvEing, and you're getting the fuck out.
Yeah, extraction
shooter,
melee, medieval shooter. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Dark and Darker has started to like just roll down the hill, get bigger and bigger and bigger, like a snowball. It was snowballing down, and then the last Steam Next Fest with a demo, it set own personal records. Millions of players were logged into Dark and Darker and playing.
Yeah.
I had a blast. Dark and Darker has been the. Like, you think everything's okay. I can't wait for the game that comes out where Chip is just like, this is the best fucking game I've ever played.
Yeah, Fortnite was kind of like that when before all the building meta took over.
Gotcha.
I thought H1Z1 was pretty much like that. PUBG didn't really do it for me. Okay. Yeah, I like a good battle royale. I like Hearthstone. I like long walks on the beach.
Okay.
Summer's day, a good book.
I got you. All right, so Darker Darker just exploded in popularity.
Yeah,
and
heard that new D&D movie's really good. That's the word on the street.
Yeah. I want to see it as well. It looks fun.
It's just kind of on theme. My bad.
So Darker Darker, the heads of the company are former Nexon employees, and apparently, in the annals of Nexon, a very similar game was pitched, and like preliminary development started on it, and then Nexon passed on the project. The people who were working on it left Nexon and pulled the resources together, started a game development studio, and started making Dark and Darker. Alpha 1, the betas before Steam Next Fest happened, no one said a thing. Steam Next Fest happens, and all of a sudden, right after, Dark and the Darker Darker devs get a cease and desist letter from Nexon claiming copyright infringement. Now, copyright infringement to your previous employer is a huge deal because they're saying straight assets were lost or straight assets were used from there.
Yeah.
Dark and Darker devs saying we did nothing of the sort. We still have receipts for. They're like we definitely bought assets from the Unity store, Unreal store, or whatever, and we have receipts for that
on the web.
Yeah, they're like we can point out all of these things. It was
things we talk about doing all the time.
This is the same. Yeah, things that we suggest because we're like don't reinvent the wheel.
Especially like early on in development before like you have like a voice for your game or whatever. Like just get those assets, get something up and running, see if there's like a flavor for it, a taste for what you're trying to put out there.
Exactly.
I was showing the boys some of my games that I had on itch.io, and they're like, "Oh, did you do this art? Do you just?" I was like, "No, just bought some of that. Some of that's like CC0. I put credits in the menu, but
for sure,
it ain't me, bro." But yeah, we always promote like that type of stuff, just like especially as like a solo dev or like a small group of like less than like 100 people. Don't reinvent the wheel, man. Just get that shit done. Like your resources could be better spent elsewhere, especially like early stages of a project, like the first 6 months.
Yep. So, Nexon, had the police raid the Dark and Darker Dev studios, and seizing laptops, computers, hard drives, looking for copyrighted material.
Yeah, I mean, or like stolen property, maybe too. Like you took our computers, or hard drives, or
just whatever, man. This is a level of petty that.
It seemed like a fishing expedition more than like we have solid evidence.
And
type of thing.
The devs are like, okay, whatever. They're like, we have the truth on our side. We'll see. And now the cease and desist happened, and the game got pulled from Steam until the legal troubles are finished. This is a studio that has not made money yet. This is a studio that is banking that their game will be successful and will carry the studio forward for the future for not only support of Dark and Darker, but future projects. Yeah. Nexon, who as a whole, and the developers themselves made a joke saying their next copy-pasted MMO that they've made, one of the bosses was named the same name from the guy who leads the Dark and Darker dev studio. There's some pettiness there. And Nexon has, let's say infinite money, so they can drag a legal fight out for as long as they want.
But yeah, compared to a studio with like $0 of revenue.
Yes. So we're in a situation here where big studio is trying to eat the little studio. And
it happens all the time, man.
It's true, but we as gamers, we as consumers are going to lose out. So my thought here is I don't think that they were stupid enough to 1-to-1 use assets from Nexon, right? From their time at Nexon. The thing that they're saying is if you started developing the game under our roof, it's our game. which a lot of, I believe, like Korean studios and Japanese studios, they run on that mode, right? They're like, okay, you don't get to do that. Famously, U.S. studios like the id Software guys, John Carmack, things like that, when they were working for Apogee, they were making Commander Keen on
their systems on the
yeah,
computers
on their systems on their off time, and Apogee, helped publish, but then they worked on Doom on Office
and then
time
they
on
got
all of
sued
that
from them,
as
and they're
well.
like, "Hey, man, this is making too
Like,
much
hey,
money. You're
nope,
too successful.
this is ours, So U.S. works a little different. U.S. the creator owns the stuff,
Yeah, as soon as like I think it's like again, not lawyers or anything. I think it's like as soon as you like put out like something of artistic merit or something like that's the creators like you don't necessarily need to file like a copyright or a trademark if you're
Yep. Keep your
author.
original assets. I've run into an issue on a
paper trail.
different YouTube channel and a different and my own Twitch stream. So I made my own music for Twitch and I've gotten copyright struck for it. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, YouTube? I was like, I made this. And then it was just some random like South African just I assume ViewBot just copyright striking everything,
just flagging everything. Yeah,
and they claimed to own the song I made. So I'm like, okay, no, here's the original files. Here's the timestamps for when I made it. This was me, and I got the copyright strike just disappeared, and I was reinstated.
You see this with like a lot of artists as well, where they people grab your art and just re-upload it or videos, cartoon videos and stuff. Like, I'll put it on like other platforms as well. So maybe you'll do something on YouTube or DeviantArt or wherever, and they're like, "Oh, this is mine now." I put it on Instagram, and everyone's like, "Bro, it's not yours."
Exactly.
And they're like, "No, I'm giving you exposure," and it's like you didn't even put credit for me on this thing, dude. So I don't know. And then it also seems like a lot of these like platforms are extremely slow to take action on a lot of that stuff, which is good and bad. But you also just keep that paper trail, keep the original copies and stuff, because you're gonna have to somehow prove that it's yours. And then at a certain point, as a creator or developer, like it's like how much time do you want to spend like squashing all the people stealing your voice out there? But people try and put like watermarks or whatever. And then people cut them out. People refill them. Like it's a shady business. It's a huge problem overall.
Yep. That being said, I don't think the devs are stupid enough to use just pure Nexon code, Nexon assets for it. But here's the thing: the style of game of Dark and Darker is not something Nexon would typically do. So I feel like the project was pitched, sure. I don't think it was ever going to see the light of day from Nexon because they didn't know how to monetize it, or anything. Because if you look at their state of lineups right now, the only game that has any it's like their Counter-Strike knockoff that was based on like Source or 1.6 or whatever. But even then, that has like the goofiest gameplay. There's like a zombie mode that's like a main attraction to it. There's like arcade style guns. It's weird. So my heart goes out to the Dark and Darker community and the devs. I just think that they're suffering because they happened to work for the wrong company previously. What are your thoughts on this, man? Do you think that that they're in the wrong in any way, or do you think that they just kind of got caught up in just a greedy ass separate company that wants to stifle them?
I think it's hard to tell, and like I said, I feel like it's a big fishing expedition because it's hard to see exactly maybe like when we look at like the screenshots side by side, and I know that's kind of like a trite like comparison, but lawsuits have been settled like this with like Dota and League of Legends, where they went to court and they famously like took screenshots of both games and they just asked normies on the street, like, are these the same game to people on the street? And they're like, no. And that was like what the judges used to be like, yeah, people can tell these are different things. You don't have a case here. And they threw it out. So it does come up. You do have like it's hard to know, like where you have like Unreal where they're helping out PUBG with their net code, and then all of a sudden they like put out Fortnite, and you're like, okay, how much of this was like inspired by, or how much of this did you just like straight up steal our idea? Because like if you look at like Fortnite is originally like a zombie survival game, and now it's like almost a 1-for-1 copy of our game, but like more cartoony and with like better netcode that you maybe helped us develop. Like we don't know, we don't like. So they had like a lawsuit too. So it's like it's hard to tell, and then like you like to think, the better angels of like parallel thinking is a thing. Like when it's an idea's time, like usually more than one people. Like extraction shooters have been like pretty hot lately, so it makes sense. You just say like, what if we took extraction shooter plus medieval or like Elden Rings and
Sure.
made that a thing, and you'd be like, yeah, it sounds like a slam dunk. Let's try that out. It doesn't seem like biggest resource commitment. Yeah, I don't. It just feels kind of shitty because it's a big company, but like, and there also it just seems like a lot of pettiness is coming out too from like Nexon side too, where it just seems like more personally motivated than financially or like protecting your IP motivated. And they never like copyright, they never like trademark, they never put out like any screenshots or like put out like any filler for it.
Yeah, no one knew it existed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
and like you said, there's like different work cultures as well. So like, and I'm not sure like what the non-compete is as well. So like, if you like submit things with like Microsoft and stuff, you have to sign an NDA, and then like they'll tell you straight up like if you're like a developer submitting games to like these publishers, they're like, yeah, just send us the game. And like I'm pretty sure like these big publishers, they don't give a shit. They're not going to steal my game or your game. But you should probably keep a backup. You should probably just in case. Like you never know, like because it's like parallel thinking. Like they might have they have a lot of studios over there. Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo. So it's like the chances of them also like having like a similar idea. Like I said, I had like that weird idea for like a Peggle like combat game. And then I saw somebody else already do that. And I'm like, fuck. They did exactly the idea I wanted to do, and it was already done. And I was like, all right, well. And then other people are like, well, just make your own then. And like, who cares? And I was like, yeah, but like it's already out there. It's out in the world, and like I can play it if I want to. I don't want to spend time doing like reinventing the wheel. Like I didn't have anything interesting or personal to add to it. And I've heard people say like that shouldn't stop you because like just the fact of you doing it's going to make it like personal and interesting based on like your own unique perspectives that you have and bring to a project.
Sure.
So I don't know, like I kind of side with the developers here of Dark and Darker more than Nexon, but it's just also weird like how law enforcement shit got involved. So it's I don't know, that usually doesn't happen. Usually it like happens in discovery at court. Like it seems very malicious. It seems very much like they're trying to squash them before like they can get revenue, like start a company. It definitely seems like personally motivated. And like unfortunately, like we live in a society where like if you have a lot of money, you can just fuck somebody's life up. I don't know. I proposed this like back with was Cliff Blazinski's game Lawbreakers.
Yep.
I said that with that word, like if you're starting a studio, like you want to have like your regular C corp, and then you want to have like another like LLC with just like your IP. Yep. So that way, like you're kind of like protected from those bubbles, and like you're basically contracting worked out for like your idea on the other LLC, and then like when that gets royalties and whatnot, it pays back to the studio. Yep. It's like a bit more convoluted. It's a little bit more paperwork, but it like helps protect you from like this type of shit. So this way, like if they had come at them, they could be like, listen, we're just doing contract work for this other company that we also happen to own, but you can't really come at us like this. This is crazy. Like you have to go after that company, and like there's like a ceiling to like what you can do legally. But it's just like you wish you wouldn't have to do like shit like that. But like you've seen time and time again now with like bigger companies, like especially like Chinese companies, because the laws are so different there, and like this is how a lot of Chinese companies do business. And like I base a lot of this on like this YouTube video I saw. It was like WhatsApp's like rise to power, where like they would offer to buy a company, and if they turned them down, then they would be like, all right, they would just sue them and then like copy exactly like their product and put it on their store, and then bury them in the app store. So you could see a world like that too with like with Google Play and like the Apple Store, where if they decide to like bury like your idea or game, like there's not much recourse you have at that point. Like it's not it's like well, you should read the terms of service and whatnot. So I don't know, man, what's your take on all this, man?
I just think that it seems petty, and it seems that Nexon just have buyer's remorse. They passed on it. They're seeing how popular it is, and they're going to do anything in their power to stop it from coming out. That's what it seems like to me. So if the devs truly didn't steal anything, I think they're fine. It just sucks that they're in this predicament, and we probably won't be getting Dark and Darker anytime soon.
It's so weird too that see. Like they have the resources. Like just put out your own. Like it's right. Like just put your own like version of Dark and Dark. Like they have the resources where they could spin up that type of game within a month, and it'd be better because they could put more money and resources behind it. So it's like that was my biggest thing with like H1Z1 because when we started playing like the first battle royales, I remember telling everybody, I was like, yeah, man, like a bigger company like Call of Duty is going to do this, or Unreal, or like one of these major studios, and everyone's like, no, man, they're not going to do it like this. And then like, you know, it took them like almost 10 years, but like, yeah, they all sure enough came in there and like ate their lunch. So it's tough, man, being like a little minnow in an ocean with whales.
Yeah, so heart goes out to the devs there. Hopefully everything works out for you, and hopefully everything works out for us, the consumers and fans of the game, who really enjoyed it on these playtests. Let's just wrap up here. Just was kind of final thoughts, and mourning E3. It used to be the pinnacle of gaming summer, where new consoles were announced, new games were announced. Famously, the PS2, Dreamcast, Xbox were all revealed here.
The price tag drop.
The price drops. The
mic drops.
N64. PlayStation, SNES. Sega Genesis. We have 2, maybe 3 decades of just good memories as consumers. I guess people who like worked it hated going there because of like parking, traffic, neighborhood, stuff conventions. Like that. But E3 was always a fun time, and I'm personally sad to see it go. But once they like swapped ownership and they started to try and make it just more of an industry show and not have fans there. Then they tried to get everyone back. They definitely like dropped the ball. So I think we live in an age where E3 is no longer needed, and obviously with the pandemic, I don't think it would have survived anyway. Just in general, just for how it was set up, because at some point the studios saw that these online events that they control,
Nintendo Direct,
well for them. Yeah, Nintendo Directs, Xbox thing, Sony Direct. It all works for them. So that being said, my favorite E3 moment that I can remember would be The Rock coming out to introduce the Xbox. Yeah. It's always funny seeing Bill Gates interact with someone in pop culture because he just is the most giant nerd in the world, and it's just always a funny juxtaposition of seeing two people there. So that one, and possibly I think it was the Halo 2 announcement. Halo 2 initial announcement, probably my favorite one. So yeah, man, how about you? How do you feel about E3? Any special memories that you remember?
What was the price drop one? Was it like $5.99 or something? Where he just literally drops the mic? It's like
the PlayStation versus Xbox One. Yeah, it's like
he just drops the mic.
Yep, he's like, this is, and we're gonna be this price. Boom. Yeah.
And just walks off like dang, dude. Like that was it. That was all anyone wanted to know.
Or was that the PS3? I think it was the PS3 Xbox 360 actually. I think that's what it was, because the PS3 was famously like $600 at launch.
I think this is great news for Xbox because they seem to always fumble like E3, like with their pricing, with their DRM. Everything's always been shit for them. The Connect, all this shit's been bad for a while. Like, they don't have like good live demo stuff. Apparently, they can't get their shit together over there at Microsoft. So I don't know. Yeah, man, it's cool. I've always watched like the Nintendo Direct and stuff. We talk about them here, and it's different to just see like every major studio, and like I don't know, YouTube's kind of filled like a huge niche of that, and like I feel like there's like a thing is like overhyped too for like games that like they just build up year after year, and it's like they get stuck in development hell or whatever, and you're like, like I don't know, you end up like your Cyberpunk situations where it's like at a certain point they get so many pre-sales for a game that's not even finished that they're just like, all right, we gotta launch this, we gotta collect that, get that bag. So it creates like weird unnatural hype almost, or like to the moon mindset. And I think with this, maybe like shorter release windows, shorter advertising to direct to consumers, there's pros and cons to that. There's also something about like everybody being like, "Oh, did you see what happened at E3? Did you see this?" Like, ask people if they saw like like Microsoft's press conference or Nintendo, and people are like, "No, dude, I didn't even know that happened." Like, so it's
exactly end of an era, man, end of an era.
Yeah, castles made of sand go back into the sea eventually.
Right.
I'm Chipmunk, and with me is always the Mr. Gimpy.
Did you steal my outro? God damn! No, we're done. We're done. Just damn, dude. You can't just castle in the sand on me and get it.
Just hit you with the Hendrix quote.
I guess you did, dude. All right, Mr. Gimpy.
Chipmunk.
I got you. All right, we out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Peace.
Everybody.
Like, share, subscribe.